This is being recorded on December 26, 2024. And I was guided to insert the acronym CE, which tells me that, now this is just my general feeling, that something important is, the wheels are starting to turn here. All right, because I've never ever been guided to insert a date and to insert common era, which means there's a very, very strong focus there to know, start watching the dates. Common era is really highlighting the fact that this is after Christ was born. Hi Ash, don't ask me why that is. The other thing before I start, if you're here, so Ashwini, you are a starseed, okay? If you've generally been interested in your role, you are a starseed, okay? A lot of you are worried that you may or may not be. If you are a starseed, okay? So now this message is because I'm just the download I did it for the past, I don't have a lot for 2 hours, but I'm going to come back again tomorrow because the second part of the message is, it's either from, so this message is from the higher ups, it's from the Galactic Federation. It is not it's somebody, it's so you could be, your soul family may be the Arcturians or the Pleiadians. It doesn't matter. All right, this applies to all star seeds, and you just go with the flow. It's because you don't remember anything, and that's not your fault. That's you. It's possible to bring the memories with you, so you don't get caught up with worrying about which starseed family. You don't need to know that. All right. So there's very basic information I'm about to give you. So I'm going to begin with what I got at first. First of all, the first point that they definitely were listening to the live show, because when you hear what the focus is here, this is information just to make things clear for you. Number one, Earth, this planet, is not it was never meant to be the 10 of Cups. Yes, there was the original intention was so that God could experience the material, the eating of the trees. God wanted to express him or herself through, in all, reaching out into all different realms. Now get ready for the really interesting, fresh new thing that I didn't realize. So they were telling me that earthly life is only one type of material realm. All right, isn't that interesting? And then they said earthly life is the most challenging of all material realms. This is not home. So the whole point is the soul is experiencing the 3D, but there's another purpose of it. The soul wants to expand out into other areas, okay? So the earth, it's not home. It's an exploration of the divine. so it's almost like there's part of God that would like to, to express itself, to reach out into all areas of, you know, all realms. So in doing that, this realm, it's not home. So what it is, it's like a training program. So when you look at tarot cards, that would tell me that the 10 of cups, it's not here. The 10 of cups is a beautiful place. And notice how it looks like a dream in the 10 of cups. This is the 10 of pentacles. It's, it's very focused on material. Now, because you're a star seed, here's another thing that they were saying that is really interesting. You are God expressing itself, like you are the star seeds are different. The part of you that's different is that it's not your body. Your body's going to look exactly the same, even the DNA. But on in terms of your divine, in terms of your soul, you are, God is observing through you. That doesn't mean that human beings, that I, for example, don't have God in me. We all have God in us. But you, the reference points, God is also using your body as a reference point. All right? Not any. Okay. So first of all, they began with, you've been through the training program. You came here to experience. But they said, yes, Earth is a classroom, but this is what this training program here. Notice how they said you've been through. So I do believe that your purpose here, your to assist spirit. I'm not certain of this. I'm like 80% certain of this, but Earth is a classroom for every soul, yes, but for you, everything you've experienced up until now was a sharpening of your skills, boot camp. All right. So some of you may feel like you're not ready. Others may feel like you're over ready. What are we doing? It's about to complete. Okay. Now, before I go on, at that point, they started going off into this thing about it. It's not that anything's failed. It's just that there is a delay here because what they were saying is a lot of star seeds are looking at everything, and what our idea of what's going to happen was in a 3D. So the way we saw it was the bad people are gonna go away and the good people are going to rise up. But yes, that's true. But there's one other thing which we're going to discuss tomorrow night because I couldn't get fully into it. But it was something like this: there are also non-earthly beings that must rise up to assist. So there's other, these could be your family, but guys, here's what's really fascinating. I believe, and I'm going to work on this again tomorrow, but they're rising up from somewhere here. And I was getting an image of You know all those videos that have been on YouTube about things rising up from the ocean? It was that it generally it was it either these things that are going to join you, and they have to start rising up. So these could be aliens, these could be the Pleiadians, there are and this could be your family, but they're coming from somewhere below. So maybe they're in, I don't know where they are, but they're not, it's not like the Holy Spirit or Christ coming down. They're coming up from somewhere. So anyway, the point is, I need to fine tune that, but the point is, that's the delay. I just want to point something out because it immediately reminded me of something. Do you remember when the comforter or Jesus was explaining, if in order for the great comforter to come here, I have to leave? So it could have something to do with the Holy Trinity. I don't know. It's like the great comforter could not come if Christ was in the world. It's something like that. So what's happening is uh, what's going on. You guys are ready. It's not, and I just I either saw 2 weeks or 2 months or something like that. Something tells me it's right around the corner. All right. Now, so then there was a more emphasis on Earth is a training program. Um, and and for all for me, what my and all other people, non-star seeds who are not, they did not mention reptilians or anything like that, but what I was getting was the Lover's card is 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 the challenge here for on Earth. It can you, in being in human form with all these deceptions that they're about to they didn't use the word deceptive, but I think you can see by the picture, um, the main emphasis of this download is to remind you, there's medicine is involved. You can find it very interesting, but I do believe that they just want to make it very, very clear who you should be listening to. All right. And also very, very clear. They're going to bust the world of man here about what the teachings, what's happened to you. All right. So the Lovers is on Earth. That's the challenge on Earth, where we must what. So I have a new tonight. I have a new perspective of the Lover's card. That's what's being done on Earth. It's a challenge. Why? Because the whole point of the Lover's card is there is the to deny a spiritual connection is wrong. And so what I was being shown is that doesn't just apply to anything romantic. The bottom line is, in the Lover's card, you can either be tempted to follow the teachings of man, flesh, like the man is tempted, or you can do what the woman is doing in the Lover's card, is choosing what is correct according to spirit. So you can see where this is going. All right. I made some notes here. All right. Okay. Now, I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to read my writing here. I don't even remember writing some of this stuff down. Okay. Oh, okay. So I just remember what they said about starseeds. So the difference between the chosen ones. First of all, your mission is, all chosen ones have one mission, and you're doing it right now. If you're listening to this right now, you're correctly, everything's on course. All right. And me too. Your soul, star seeds, the way they said, it's a fragment of the essence of God. All right. A fragment of God. So notice how that sounds like something more than, a regular person. Yes, Christ resides within the body of all, people who, as long as we're not reptilians or anything, but with the star seeds, there's something extra. There's a fragment of God, whatever that means. All right, let's keep going. So now get ready for them to slash and burn. Whoa. So there was a constant reference to the controllers. So they're talking about the world of men, all things that are taught here. Your teachers, your elders, so-called. I can't even call them elders. These are not, these are the self-righteous men, human beings who are running this planet, all right? And they are teaching they don't have any teachings, basically. When you look at that picture that I chose for the thumbnail, that's what I was picturing when I was getting the download. There are children on an assembly line. They're dressed in gray. They're being treated like a cog in a machine. It's like it looks like they're in a factory. And that is what they were, that basically they didn't, instruct me to use that picture, but that's the idea that I was getting. So you ask yourself now how valuable and how correct they said the teachings of man. They didn't even call the teachings of man. They said the dark ones, the controllers, the dark ones. Those were your so-called teachers. All right. And here's what they said. This is really interesting, guys. First of all, everything that you have been exposed to here by man, it's garbage. There men on this earth who are teaching in schools, they have no wisdom. And they were saying wisdom comes from God. Why? Because this is really cool. They said it's knowledge and understanding. But there's the Holy Trinity again, because Bina, they didn't mention any tarot or anything, but Bina is understanding on the high priestess. But that means she's developing ideas, right? And she's also analyzing and that type of thing. She's analyzing those little receptors. But anyway, and Hakma, the great father, that's where the knowledge comes from. So you can only get true wisdom. It's knowledge and understanding, and it only comes from God. All right. So we have not been, nothing you learn in a textbook or in a school or a university or these degrees that they are not, they're folly. They're folly. There's no wisdom there. You won't find wisdom from a man, all right, a human being. So here's what they're doing. First of all, I was really surprised about what they were saying about the women. So this is really cute. Women of whose skin is of a unique hue. They were saying, number one, those women are the doctrine of earthly men. They said either overtly, not, they didn't use overtly. What was the word? Hang on. I hope I wrote it down. Yeah, in an overt way and in a clear way, they are teaching those women of a unique hue that they're inferior. Now, so what this would mean is, let's say you're a white woman in a purely Japanese environment. You will be the teachings of man there. You will be the woman of a unique hue. Okay, so there's prejudice. They didn't use the word prejudice. But for those other women who are of the, whose skin, I guess, is of the, the common hue, they didn't use that, but you get the idea. Those women are also equally, you know, they're in an overt and so this tells me that in an overt and clear, I can't remember they were using a word for, it's almost like a subliminal message, okay? So they're indirectly teaching you. And then I literally just saw like a bunch of magazines, like with models and stuff. And then I saw the word idol. So what they're doing with women, you see here, um, all women, they'll find a way to it with the majority of women. They will. It's almost like so they're distracting them on the covers of magazines. Those images are impossible. The images of those women, they're not real. All those pictures are not a true and accurate depiction of any woman. You would have to literally distort your body to match that. But it's being done in a in a it's very deliberate. It's a something behind the scenes, right? What they're trying to do is to get you to make that woman your idol, the impossibly beautiful woman, but she's not beautiful. That's what they want. They're saying that's beautiful. So all of those other women, they're also feeling inferior because they're competing with something that doesn't exist. Um, so maybe this is what that girl, what our little starseed, well, who was the woman that I was really trying hard to get through to her. So let me just sum it up in this way. What I was trying to, the reason why I was so angry today and I was pounding my fist against the wall, we essentially have been brainwashed, just like those children on the assembly line. They did use the word selective and diversive, and it's deliberate. What is the purpose of quote unquote education here? And here's what they did say in so many words. So in the schools here, in the actual classrooms on Earth, everything that, I can't even use the word teach, but what they're quote unquote teaching you, they are choosing, everything that they're teaching you is for their benefit. So they are leaving out information, they're cherry picking, and they're also being deceptive. All right? You cannot trust, they didn't use the word trust, but the overall message is you will not find any scintilla of wisdom in the teachings of man. And there's one other thing that they said, and I wish I had written it down, but it was something like this. If you're being guided according to the wisdom of God, the wisdom of God is the truth. It's aligned with all the truth, and that if how do you know if you're running on the wisdom of God? Well, if your understanding of the truth is purely from God, if you have a complete understanding and wisdom, you should be feeling beautiful, clean, calm, clear, no fear, nothing. So anyone, they were definitely listening to our live, because these are the things, it's almost like here's a way of saying it. Anyone, what does that mean? So the corollary to that is that anyone, if you are feeling uneasy, that means 100% sure that there is some kind of belief that you have, or something that you've been taught that is false. All right? If you have a clear understanding of the truth, the actual truth, because it's not like you're choosing, oh, well, that's God is the more moral thing to do, and no, actually, let me just rephrase that. Let's just talk about what's true and credible. Is man's teachings true and credible, or is the hermit's teachings true and credible? Hands down, no question, the hermit is God. And it's not that it's ooey gooey or overly, no, it's true. So how do you know? If you are running on truths in terms of your understanding and your belief system, you'll be feeling calm and serene, and you'll be feeling whole. You will not have 1 ounce, 1 iota of fear. So that means that the problem today, we had one of our masculine Aquariuses who felt stuck. We had Eclectic, who I was reading, and she felt abandoned, or that she was not being reciprocated. And who else? I believe that Ashwini was numb. You name it. All of this, the whole reason why you guys feel that way is because it was quite deliberate. You were brainwashed by man. They either deliberately did not give you a teaching, or they distorted what they were teaching. And both are equally wrong. All right, let's keep going. I'm trying to read my right. Yeah, I've got here. They were saying you're herded into schools of man. And you need to know they are teaching only what they choose you to know, right? And none of it is wisdom, all right? Okay, now, okay. In addition to schools, some of you may not, it's bad enough what we've been subjected to, but the teachings also, when they say the teachings of man, it extends out everywhere. I'm assuming they were talking about the media, all right? But anyway, in general, the man will teach. Here's what he wants you guys to think. You want to idolize the rich, scorn the poor. There's judgment there. Can you imagine? Okay, let's keep going. Those are 2 offenses, all right? Huge offenses. On images. And they're not real. Those images are not a true and accurate depiction of those women. So basically, you're being lied to there. And you're also being taught to idolize that. In other words, what does that mean? You should be like that woman. That's what I want. Idols mean that there you are being directed toward that, to worship that, which means that you want to be like that, right? Absolutely, totally ridiculous. Anyway, oops, sorry. Now here's this is really cool. In terms of medical doctors and medical professionals, there is an absolute perversion. There, you look around, and so even right down to, you would think to yourself, thank you, Caroline. You would think to yourself, think about, have you ever heard? Well, let me just list the things, and this is going to be shocking. Let me list the things that you would think would be proper. Get a checkup every 6 months. Get a, be fearful that you might have breast cancer and go, put your breast through this, horrible, get x-rays, which, by the way, have an enormous amount of dangerous radiation. What you're learning is an acceptable amount of radiation. The Galactic Federation, or were they not happy? They actually, at the beginning of the reading, they flat out said that, so God's original plan was to, reach out and express himself, and to be in the vessel of the, and to extend out into the material, but man failed. All right. So, and these are just the many ways that man failed. So there was this whole cycle that they were showing me. And I actually, at first you would think that all these encouraging to go check this, check that, how many times the statistics here, every woman has a 1/3 chance of getting breast cancer. This is all totally offensive to God. It's that what they said flat out, it's causing illness, because we are being taught to fear being sick. So then you're going to the doctor when you don't. They actually said it is not necessary. So you'll go to the doctor, and it's not even necessary to go to a bloody doctor, because what they were saying was, in this world of man, basically they're saying those medical professionals, those they don't know anything about taking care of the body. They're there to make you fearful and then sick. And that is the truth. They said they showed me the statistic every 6 months, and then they said you're taught to fear being sick, and then you should give your body up to a medical professional. And at that point, the medical professional will teach you that the only way to take care of yourself is to take drugs, or to do this or do that. And all of this makes you ill. But also, one of the issues, obviously, that the Galactic Federation has with, is that you place faith in, you say, I need those drugs, I need them to take care of myself, because a medical professional is prescribing them. Fuck that. They're there to make you sick. It's so you'll believe that you are not able to take care of your body, and it's not true. Basically, they're saying that medical professionals are not necessary. I know this, look, guys, I know this is crazy, but I'm just telling you what I see, all right? Now, and then they just went on, you're taught to fear, and fear, very overtly, they said fear causes disease, nothing else. Because in the long run, you might say, well, radiation does and poisons do, but where did that come from? Fear, we were fearing that we wouldn't have control over the planet, so we made the nuclear weapons, which caused radiation. How about the chemicals? We're a big company, they're fearful that they'll lose some profit if they if they spend the appropriate amount of money to dispose of their waste in an ethical way. So what do? They dump it on a beautiful land, and then other people's gets. All disease is caused by man and fear. All right. And this is only about 3/4 through the message, and then I'm going to stop. I think they actually wanted me to go to bed. Anyway, the last thing I got, we'll continue tomorrow, all right? The last thing I got, and it's probably the most important thing, the biggest error in teaching, the biggest falsity, is you've been taught to use your mind. You've been taught that your mind will gain you knowledge and the truth. You've been taught to use their mind. In other words, your mind is logic. So the mind, when they're saying the mind there, they're talking about only that part that taketh, it's the left side, which cannot, if you have not been allowing yourself to feel emotion and to allow emotions to run through you, or to sit and meditate and stuff like that, your corpus callosum, which simply does one thing, it helps for healthy, proper communication between both hemispheres. So you can see the problem. Here's the problem: in your right hemisphere are all the areas that you need to understand true wisdom. So if you have not been using your intuition, or you have been blocking emotion, cutting off, the corpus callosum will be small and withered. And guess what? If you're a woman, here's something that's going to make you proud. You can Google it if you like. It's in the studies. Guess in women's minds, not just confined to psychics, guess which sex has the biggest corpus callosum, and it's almost 10% larger. Women. All right, so don't you ever cry when you want to cry. Give yourself, let emotion run through you. And they wanted to put one last thing there. They're saying there's 2 strikes that you've got against you if you're here on Earth. A, we've got these dark controllers selecting what you learn, so you've got no hope of getting true wisdom there. B, they're teaching you to use your mind only, and that I've been told many times that people roll their eyes, about card reading and stuff like that. But one last thing, and they said, and because you have no memory, and guess what that is? It's memory of what happened before you were born. So, and it's not your fault that you don't. It's just not possible. It's interesting. You have all the knowledge. Perhaps they meant memory there as a long-term memory, short-term memory. All that is in all of that memory. Short-term memory, long-term memory. It's in the the part of the brain that dogma, the Great Father. It's the conscious area, right? You do have memories, though, of everything, but the problem is it's in the bloody high priestess. It's in the Akashic records. It's in the subconscious. So what does that mean? That means if we're not being taught, we don't even know. We don't even know that we don't know. We are not even aware of our incredible power and ability. So we're not even aware that there is important information sitting. Well, there's at least an actual area of our brain that was designed for us to use all we like. Put it this way: if you were brought up to if there was a real generous man, or if this world were full of people who were unconditionally loving and who walk with God, and who are not scared and fearful, blah blah blah, you would have perfectly, all that you would be completely connected. You would probably be talking to your ancestors and hearing God, seeing. You wouldn't have any, you'd probably be able to move in and out of the realms, but you know what I mean? There would not be, you would be happy, peaceful, and you would not feel any lack, because the bottom line again is we've been brainwashed. We have been taught that we have been taught that we haven't been shown the truth. We've been lied to, and then so it makes it almost worse when with us, when, well, not with me anymore, because I'm so unshaken. I've seen too many miracles. It's just I don't have an ounce of doubt about it. The only thing I'd love to have is a clearer connection. But anyway, we'll get there. I'm figuring something out with these. Right now I'm using that sound you're hearing in the background. It's a mixture of isochronic tones, binaural beats, and it's using pure frequencies to sync the left and the right brain. You know why? Because then the subconscious, the conscious, let's just think of the right side, the left side of your brain as a man, okay? And he is known, he's just a jerk, he's an asshole, he doesn't believe in God. And over on the right side of your brain is the high priestess who knows everything. And if we could only get the connection, if we could only get the high priestess to speak to the conscious side of our brain, if we could get them to agree and marry each other, we would know everything. We would know we'd be able to see through you get the idea. So isn't that interesting though? Because maybe in tarot, that's why, that the right side of the brain is supposed to represent, the high priestess, but she doesn't speak. Let me just expand that a little bit more. On the lower part of the tree of life is the Hierophant. Guess who that is? That's our religious leaders. Oh, they said one more thing too. They're taught that certain things are sins. Okay, there's no such thing as sin except making you feel bad about yourself. They said something about the 10 Commandments. There's only 2 of them. So here's what they said. Here's what they said is wrong. To teach us the divorce is wrong. So God is not does not judge people who get a divorce. Neither does God judge people who adultery is sin, and you must confess your sins. According to God, none of those are you're not to receive judgment. But that makes sense, because I just want to remind you of one thing. Jesus was asked, he was, they attacked him verbally, and they said, what you say about the 10 Commandments? And Jesus said there are only 2 that are actual wrongs. Number 1, to deliberately hurt, physically murder somebody, but murder, in its that means with malice and evil heart. Because, for example, somebody could be defending themselves. Well, Moses murdered. If Moses saw a young Hebrew man being beaten up, and he attacked the soldiers, the Pharaoh soldiers, and he accidentally killed one of them. He had to run away because he was worried. He was hiding for a very long period of time. His brother Aaron committed murder. His brother Aaron was not a good person. But so divorce, if you're feeling guilty about divorce, that is a falsity. And I want to make a observation here. It's only being published now, but there is a really sad story about, and it's 100% true. I wish I could. What was the girl's name? The young man who got murdered was Mark. I think was Mark Wilson. They were living in a. He married. He was in high school. He was a football player, and he married one of the cheerleaders. Everyone thought they were the perfect couple, and his best friend. He married his girlfriend, and the two of them were friends. And of course, that you can see where this all starts. The girl that the young man married, she probably married him for status, because he had money and he was, she also, there was a report of how she would make him as an adult in her early 20s. If she needed her car gassed up and he was at work, she would call him and he would come. He'd have to leave work and gas up her car. After she had a baby with him, you could tell it was them competing. The other couple would have a baby. Here's what happened. She fell in love with the friend. This is all true. It's all over the place. She fell in love with his best friend. So they started an affair, and she wanted to be with his best friend, but she thought the divorce was wrong, and she didn't want to be judged for it. So guess what happened? She's the one who came up with this plan. She and the new man came up with the plan to make it look like, and they almost got away with it for 20 years. They managed to get away with this, but now she's in jail. Thank God. Anyway, and I don't like people being in jail, but that woman, she married a man she didn't love for status, and all she cared about was what other people thought of her. And because she had been conditioned to believe that divorce is wrong, and it was a religious town, okay, look at what that caused. You've got a woman going around there with absolutely no spirit in her, like the Hierophant, devoid of spirit. Devoid. And so here's another thing that they did that was terrible. You really should watch this just to see how evil, how very, very careful you have to be not to allow yourself to be conformed to this world. Rather you be transformed through the renewal of the mind. The renewal of the mind is just like those yellow stickies. It's a course correction. You're renewing your mind. It's not that because there's junk in there. All right? And here's another thing that was terrible. The mother of the young man that was murdered. For 20 years, she was gaslit. She knew that wonderful little lady. She knew. She didn't have any evidence, none. But she knew in her heart the truth from day one. And she went to the police, and they all called her paranoid, and she's a crazy lady and all this stuff. Everyone thought she was nuts and hateful. They chastised her. She loved her son, and she knew that how sneaky. So here's what happened, just to make you feel better. So they had hidden it so well that had this not happened, what happened was, about 7 years after the murder, of course, the relationship starts breaking down, and here's why. The man, so the way his best friend was murdered, he murdered his best friend at her command. And he was crying. It's almost like he couldn't believe. He was absolutely horrified at what he had done. And he was describing, of course, he's in jail too, don't worry, everyone's in jail. But he was sobbing on the stand because he remembers that when he was shooting, he told the whole friggin' truth to that guy, by the way, will go to probably a higher level of heaven. You know why? Because he gave up every scintilla of the truth in a very, very articulate way. And he gave the truth about everything that he just gave the whole truth, not in a vindictive way. He gave the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but. But here's how they got caught. That man had a conscience, believe it or not, the guy who murdered his friend. And what had happened was, because of the devil, because he felt so guilty, he was trying to cover it up, he developed a sex addiction, and which he never had before. But notice how addictions start. One mistake leads to another, and you see the devil, it just gets worse and worse and worse. He could not bear the guilt of what he had done, and it was weighing on him more and more. And so the sex somehow allowed him to distract himself for a short period of time. So, of course, what do you think happened then? This girl who's very self-righteous and proud, when she found out that he was sleeping with, I don't know, 150 women, she got jealous and angry. And it built up to a fight. And then she drove him so crazy that he was just out of control. He jumped into the back of her car and he put a gun to her ribcage and said, "Drive." And so, of course, she wasn't one bit scared because she wouldn't pull over. But she went into the police station, it's on the internet, and cried and demanded, here's the murderer, right? Behind all these murders. And by the way, she tried to convince him to murder. She wanted her husband murdered, what's happened, and his wife murdered. Because she wanted the wife taken out too, his ex-wife. This was before the murder. And that man said, "No, I'm not. If you want me, I'm not murdering my wife." Anyway, so she settled for that. So here's what happened. So there's one scene on YouTube of her demanding to the judge that he should go to jail forever. What a stupid idiot she was. Because what she didn't know was that there was one chubby old fat chief of police who started realizing that the mother was right. He had started on his own an investigation, and he had been collecting, and he was doing a good job. And I guess he had a conscience too. So the girl successfully gets her husband locked up. And she's demanding that and of course, because this evidence comes out that he pulled a gun on her, he's looking at, the rest of his life in prison. And so when the chubby old man, the police heard about this, he thought, now in my perfect chance, because what does he have to lose? He's going to go in. He wants them both in jail, right? But he's going to go in and he's going to tell the guy, look, we are going to, here's what we're going to do. You are going to be charged with murder, and you're going to be going to jail. Well, right now you could be going to jail for the rest of your life, but we're going to give you a deal. We're going to give you a deal of 20 years in jail, which would actually, it's not bad because that'll be cut down, and for full immunity on the murder charge if you give up the whole truth. And out it comes. So you see, the justice does prevail. And so all was made fair there. But that woman, there's what the cheerleader, you're worried about, boyfriend going up, there's the cheerleader, the essence of the cheerleader. Everyone thought she was, do you know when she was arrested? She was very conservatively dressed. She was an accountant at a university, upstanding reputation, went to church, not a blemish on her record. A murderer. Now, that is the result of accepting the truth that the divorce is wrong, and all you have to do to get rid of guilt is confess your sins to a priest, a man, right? And then that's okay, because a priest is God, right? You have to talk to God. God doesn't exist. That's a God over there, the Pope. Sorry, that's a man with a high blood pressure and probably, abusing little boys or something. That's like a sicko who doesn't have any faith or belief in God. Now, did I do okay? I'm hearing some laughter. You realize that there's some spiritual beings who are having a lit thing. When they hear us going on, it's kind of like the Super Bowl. They're laughing their heads off. They think it's funny, but they're very pleased with you, Starseeds. They are pleased. So just, don't know that I'm just doing my best there, and so know that I don't have everything right, but generally, some little things need to be fine tuned, and there's a lot of information that I just don't have. But what I can tell you is that if you've got to rely on your intuition. Just know that it is absolutely a fact that I'm just doing my best. The essence at its core of this message tonight, you should take it. And just if you're not ready to digest it, just put it in your back pocket for when you are. You guys are doing really, really well. You're doing really well. All right. There's one last warning that they had. I have no idea why. But see, this tells me that something could be happening. So there's something about the food there's something that's going to start happening to the food, especially food. If you're going into a supermarket, this. Thank you, by the way, for telling us this. Wash any fruit or vegetables that you're buying. They use the word poison. So what's going to happen now is that I won't get into the other side of the message because I couldn't get it completed, but you're really going to find when I get some sleep and I get this other part of the message downloaded. Just for now, just be aware. Anything you buy in a supermarket, because there's some food that actually there's an effort that man is going to be making to make things look good on the outside. It doesn't just apply to fruit. Look at the food, look at it. And it's because they're running out there's a lot going on that we don't know. They're in a panic. There's something going on with the money, and there's something going on with food. And if you're buying fruits and vegetables, wash it, really look at it, wash it, and cut through it. Look at it on the inside before you eat it. That's all they said. Okay. Okay, you get the idea. It could be chemicals or something. That they did use the word poison, not chemicals. They just said, look at the food that from now on, you must look at the food, examine it, wash it, and cut through it. There was some kind of a emphasis on looking at the inside of things. So that kind of thing. All right. So, Starseeds, I love you. And I'm just looking at so I'm going to go to bed. Catalina, I'm an Aries, by the way. Don't get too caught up on, there is a reason why actually, I'll talk about that tomorrow night, but if you're here, frequently and you're being drawn toward these starseed readings, it just so happens that I haven't asked anyone, I don't ask questions, by the way, I just allow it to come in. The only time I just find that it's a bit rude to ask questions. So what I do is I take the cards out if I'm uncertain about something and I start flipping it. And all of a sudden the message will, get a little more clear. So one thing I'm dying to know is, no, we don't have to know that. Just trust. See, that's a That's fear. Just go, just keep going, one foot in front of the other, and this will all come together. All right? So just remember there's some delay because of people coming from the coming up to the surface. And these are not these are not, human beings. They're not human beings, but they're not evil. It could be your family, it could be the Starseed family, the Pleiadians, I don't know who it is, but I know that these ones are part of the team, part of they were using the word we, and we this and we that. So I'm kind of excited about what's gonna happen, all right? Guys, I love you so much. I'm going to leave this public and I'm going to get some sleep. And I will be doing some live tarot tonight. All right. So in about 8 hours, check your messages. I love you guys so much. I hope that most of you have the day off or the night off. But if you don't, I hope that if you're working, I hope that it's easy breezy with no hiccups. All right. Guys, I love you so much. So look at the notifications, okay? Because we're gonna have some fun doing tarot on the live tomorrow night. And Ash, I love you so much, and Malpale, all of you, you're amazing. All right, so hope to see you in I gotta go to bed. Hope to see you in about 8 hours. I'm sending lots and lots of love to you. All right, bye. To you too, my love. Merry Christmas to you, Malpale. My soul sister. Okay, bye, guys. I'll see you in about 8 hours.